Hey everyone, welcome to my Dragon Ball Breakers tips and tricks video, where my friends and I went into a practice to test out different mechanics and abilities on these things that we did. We mostly had in mind for any really player, beginning or a veteran, to be able to use in the majority of their matches on both Survivor and Raider. I wanted to make this video as short as possible to get the most important tricks out for both sides. Mostly the tricks that are used for fighting and strategizing. And I'm likely going to call this a part 1 video, mostly because in the making of this video, this will be coming around late October, early November, and the game is set to get updated as the year continues. But I mostly wanted to make this video because the things that we tested and tried out here, I rarely see anyone use these different tricks or mechanics in the majority of our games on both Survivor and Raider. And I think these can really help out both sides to either when it's with smaller things or even just winning the game outright. And I've been playing since open and closed betas, and I haven't really seen too many videos that cover these smaller details, I guess, that are part of the game. And yeah, so be sure to let me know if any of these tricks helped you learn something new. Leave a like for more videos like this, and you can also watch me and my friends use these tricks live on Twitch. Link into the description. And yeah, without any further delay, let's get into it. So first, I kind of want to start with a small PSA on the Survivor side, and that is to stop reviving yourself with a senzu bean, especially when the Raider is focused on you. And about 99.5% of times, I usually see the person not making it out and they're just out of the game. So all this does basically is just waste the senzu bean and pretty much takes the person out of the game, leaving the Survivor team one less person behind when they can be used, like later in endgame with the time machine, to distract the Raider and help win the game on the Survivor side. So yeah, so at least want to start with that. So next, I wanted to tackle on the Vanish Move mechanic. This move can be used by both Raiders and Survivors, and I would say that this also has a bit of a skill ceiling to it, as I know I haven't mastered it yet. There's even an achievement or trophy attached to this as well, and the way you do this for both sides is waiting and watching, I guess, for the targeting marker to hit a stage 2 type of focus, I guess, that you'll see on your screen. This basically lets you attack in melee range and try and lunge forward with like a punch and just goes into a melee combo. But once you are in that close range, you're able to use this Vanish move. And to start, you basically move forward and you use your evading keybind, which by default is B or circle for controller, and right click for keyboard and mouse. And once you do that, you'll be able to teleport behind your enemy, and depending on the elevation you're at, you'll be able to do a short range attack. And this can be useful for someone that's trying to do a special move, which is basically what the achievement is, but that's a little bit more on the difficult side to do. And in other cases, this is useful for getting close and hitting an enemy without using any energy. Or if the Raider or Survivor is on the time machine or even summoning Shenron, this can also be used to interrupt them. And I should say again that this move has a bit of a skill ceiling, because depending on your position, you will either appear you'll appear in front or behind whatever you are attacking. So this can be a good or a bad thing depending on how you use this when you're attacking. As a lot of times that I've done this is I've done it behind a Raider and they're usually doing some kind of super attack, and I usually get hit with another person that is also attacking them. So overall, it's just getting used to using this move, and as well as learning in what situation to do it at. The other part is, I guess, the elevation that you're at when you're doing this Vanish move. As if you're either below or above the person, you'll do a different kind of attack. You'll either do a bit of an uppercut to make the person go farther up, or you'll do a bit of like a downwards kick to kick the person down towards the ground. But if you're on a level, like playing ground, if you're on a level elevation, for the most part, you'll just teleport in front or behind them and just kick them forward. And I would say the main counter to this mechanic would be to just constantly be moving. Usually, for the most part, most fights are in the air. And to be able to, if someone is trying to do this on you, pretty much the way you counter it is just to constantly move. Because this Vanish move will just automatically track on where the person is when you hit the attack. But if you just constantly keep moving, you'll pretty much miss and you'll be stuck in animation and pretty much open to an attack. So yeah, you do kind of got to be careful on the way you use this and just look at the different situations that this would be able to get pulled off. So the next tip I wanted to go over is mostly on the survivor side, and that is attacking a raider that is higher power level than you. And in most cases, when you try and attack a raider that is higher level than you, then they will always deflect whatever melee attack. Usually they'll deflect that attack and just kick you back and waste a lot of your energy. So the way you can kind of get around this is by using a stun ability. So this can be Solar Flare, Krillin's Shoe, Bulma's Charming Pose. And once you do that, you're able to attack that raider and pull off a bit of a melee combo. You can even use a rocket launcher stun. Even though this is a lot shorter of a stun, it is still possible to be able to get in a small window of attack to be able to hit the raider. So I think this is kind of like a smaller one, but I think this is definitely useful for like end game when the time machine is out and the raider is pretty high level, and most likely not every person is going to be, level 3 highest power level or level 4. So this is kind of, I guess, a bit of a workaround for it to be able to get in a little bit of damage, to be able to do something to stop the raider from, killing people or destroying the time machine. So this next part of the video is mostly going to be dedicated to ability kind of knowledge and different tricks that you can use for these, as well as counters for these different abilities on both the raider and survivor side. And the first one that we're going to start off with is Solar Flare. And Solar Flare is a bit of a unique ability, as basic, I guess, description of it is it stuns whatever is coming at you. But I guess to get down into the nitty gritty about it, is Solar Flare is a 360, I guess, attack range. And it also, I believe, increases depending on what level you are as a survivor or raider. But mostly the way you counter it, I guess the biggest counter is by looking, I guess, away from the person that is doing Solar Flare. And I don't mean like camera or angle wise, I mean your actual character in game has to look away from the person that is doing the Solar Flare so you do not get affected by it. I feel like this is kind of probably an obvious one, I guess, but a lot of the times, especially when people are fighting, I see a lot of people question as to why they do or don't get stunned by Solar Flare. And so I guess this is kind of just to give a bit of clarification as to how Solar Flare works, both on the level side and as well as, I guess, counter wise. So that's how this one works. So next trick showcases what to do against Kid Boo's super/ultimate attack, which is his AoE key splash rain shower. I don't know exactly what it's called, but there's a huge weakness that is into it. I'm not sure if this is a bug or if this is an actual mechanic, but the big counter, I guess, to it is to just keep moving forward. It's pretty much that simple. You can do this as a survivor or you can do this transformed. It doesn't matter, so long as you keep moving forward. You could even use like a floating device, or you could dodge or drive, I guess. I believe driving you'll still be faster than the attack, but if you just keep moving forward, the attacks will actually never hit you. Even though the attack hits the whole map, the big ones that actually hit you go track to your position, but as a survivor, when you do this attack as Boo, the survivors will run by default. And so this allows you to actually outrun the attack. It's kind of funny when we started doing this, but Yeah, instead of hiding, I guess, in a cave or in a building, and still, I guess, risking dying to splash damage, you can just keep running forward, in or outside. And yeah, that's about it for this one. So last and probably most important tip out of the whole video here is we're going to be going over, I guess, an overall view of the active slash, I guess, skill that Cell and Super Boo have, and that is going over their key detection skill. And basically, when we learned this skill was like a bit deceptive for us, as we didn't really know how it initially worked, as we just knew that it scanned you. But we didn't really learn the ins and outs until we tested this. And this tip kind of also works for both sides, Raider and Survivor, in a sense that you get a better understanding of how to use slash how to counter this skill. And so initially starting off, at least starting with Cell, because that's the more reliable one that we're going to be using here, is Cell has, I guess, not a ring, but I guess a circle, I guess would be the best way to describe it, around him when he uses his key detection skill. And the way that circle works is whatever goes inside that circle, in or out, will get detected. And even if you're crouching or you're camouflaged, you'll still get detected when you're inside that ring. But when you're outside, it'll basically be like you're never there. You won't get detected. And the way we found this out is we took the Survivor tracking part that is used against the Raiders, and initially what we found out, I'm not sure if this tracking I guess system uses feet or meters, but we more reliably, I guess, called it feet. That's what we used. But we learned that Cell actually has a base I guess distance of 120 feet that we learned. That is like the maximum distance that his circle or key detection will stretch to. So if you're inside of that circle, or if you go inside that circle while he's using that skill, you will get detected. Like I said, no matter if you're camouflaged, if you're crouching, if you're in a cave out of his line of sight, you will still get detected. So the best way to counter it is to obviously stay outside of that range. But this next part is where it kind of gets tricky, and it goes along with his evolution. And I'm assuming that the same thing works with the Super Boo in terms of the range. And that's whenever Cell evolves or gets to a higher power level, that range increases. So as you can see on the second form, the first maximum distance was 120 feet. Now in level 3, or his second form, that increased by 20. So that's 140 now for level 3. So anything within that circle of his, whether, like I said, whether you're crouching, camouflaged, or out of his line of sight, you will get detected. And so this also can get further increased by his final form, but it doesn't get increased by much. It gets increased by 10. So for a maximum of 150 feet. So overall, anything you do when you're inside that circle, you'll get detected. But if you're outside, then you'll be fine for the most part. But like I said, his range does get increased the more he gains in power. And I'm assuming the same. We didn't really test it out with Super Boo, because only Super Boo has, I guess, that key detection skill. Well, actually, Kid Boo has it as well, now that I think about it. But I'm assuming that it's going to work the similar, if not the same numbers, because it wouldn't really make sense if it didn't. And I'm also, like I said at the beginning, I'm also recording this during season 1, so there may be new abilities that come out for key detection that may not apply here. So if that does happen, then we may make a future video about it and whatnot. But overall, I'd say that's probably the best overall, I guess, overview, I guess, of his key detection skill and how to pretty much better use it. Now, as Raider, the way that I have changed my way of using this skill is, instead of flying in the air and trying to detect someone by using the skill, it's better to be slightly above ground level, as that way you'll be covering a more, I guess, wide range area, especially if there's any survivors hiding underground. You'll be able to catch them as long as they're inside your range. And yeah, that pretty much goes for any I guess raider that also has this in the future, and I'm assuming that it's also going to be working the same. And with that final tip, and if you made it this far in the video, I want to thank you all for watching. This video took a little while to make, but I think it was definitely worth it, and a lot more in the educational sense with these things and these hidden mechanics. So I think this has already been helping out me and my friends' games. So if you did learn something new, be sure to drop a like. Be sure to share with anyone that might also want to know some of these tips. If we did miss any other tricks or things, be sure to let me know in the comments. And also, like I said, leave a like for more videos like this. Remember, you can catch us playing these games live on my Twitch, link in the description. And yeah, with all that said and done, I want to thank you all for watching once more. I hope you all have a good one wherever you are, and I'll see you all in the next one.